Hi, welcome to Inner Beauty, where I talk about all the things that make us beautiful from the inside out. So, today I'm going to be talking about a couple of things. One, I want to talk about doing mirror work and what I've discovered about myself in the process. I want to talk about the question I've been asking myself all year: what's the freaking point of all of this that we're experiencing? And lastly, I want to talk about my experience taking a 7 week improv course. Now, I have a stellium in my 12th house. My chart is ruled by Scorpio. So, for me, everything is a spiritual experience, everything is a transformation. I love the emotional push and pull of change. It turns me on. And I am always going through these internal shifts. But I think that's just my mindset. I think it's just my personality to always want to travel into the darker parts of myself. And sometimes I'm not always welcoming to those things. Like this morning, I was just so shaking up. Well, not the whole morning, but there was a portion of this day where I was just so shaken up, so emotional. I cried a couple times, and it's just because I was just overwhelmed. And I also think it is a byproduct of the mirror work that I've been doing. Because have you ever sat in front of the mirror and just looked at yourself? Because that's what I did like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh, I really don't know myself. I'm not really connected with myself. And so I'm sitting in front of my big, beautiful mirror looking at myself, and I'm just kind of forced into radical acceptance. I'm like, really, I'm naked, so I'm being completely vulnerable with myself. And I'm sitting in front of the mirror and I'm just kind of like, I don't know myself. I don't feel connected with myself. And it's so crazy because I spend all day with myself. I spend a majority of my time alone because I work from home. And so I'm just with myself all day. But I didn't really realize how much I was living in distraction all day and not really just kind of being with myself and being with yourself in this like hyper tech world, this world where people are just kind of like, you need community, you need to be with other people, we have to change the world, kumbaya, all the time. You really don't have the space to just kind of be with yourself and check in with yourself. And sitting in front of the mirror made me do that. So I'm looking at myself and I'm just like crying because I'm like, this is me. And I'm looking at myself and I'm like, I don't like every part of me. I don't like my belly. I don't like my discolored skin. I don't always like my posture. Sometimes I hate my hair. Sometimes I just hate myself. And I'm just kind of sitting there and I'm just kind of sitting with the reality that I don't always like myself. And that's a very hard pill to swallow. That's a very hard thing to sit with. And I'm sitting there forced into radical acceptance. Like, yeah, I don't like my hair right now, but I accept it. Yeah, I don't really like the shape of my body right now, but I accept it. Yeah, I really don't like all these bags under my eyes right now, but I accept it. Yeah, I don't always like the reality that I'm living in, but I accept it. And that's very hard to do because a lot of times, I don't know about you, but when I'm moving throughout my day to day life, I am distracted and I am trying to find a way not to pay attention to the small things that bother me. I'm trying not to pay attention to the mistake that I made yesterday or the one I made 10 years ago that I'm still thinking about. I try not to think about all the heartbreak, all the loneliness, all the fear, all the doubt. I just try to navigate it, or I try to like work myself or think myself around it instead of just like sitting with it. And for me, I've always kind of lived under the belief that I'm here to do the great work. And for me, the great work is really just falling in love with myself, knowing myself, appreciating myself. So I'm sitting in front of the mirror and I begin to say things to myself like, I love you, or I talk in first person or second person, kind of depends on the mood, but I say things like, you are beautiful, You are intelligent. You are smart. You are creative. You are worthy of respect. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of adoration. You are loving, and you are loved. Because I feel honestly, I don't think I'm the most loving person all the time. If I had to compare myself to an animal, I would definitely call myself a turtle. I tend to, just go into my shell a lot. That's where I feel the safest. But this time in my life, I want to be more open to myself and to the world, and I want to have more valuable connections. I realize that a lot of the relationships I've had in my life have been really unbalanced because I just sometimes love feels embarrassing to me. um, oh my goodness, that's so vulnerable. But yeah, sometimes love feels embarrassing to me. I sometimes like watch things with people like loving on each other and I cringe a little bit. Um, but I probably need therapy. I'm pretty sure I need therapy. I'm pretty sure I have to work through like my daddy and my mommy issues, but yeah, so but I want to be more open. I want to be more empathetic. I want to be there for people in my life, but I need it to be balanced too. And in balancing that, I feel like I need to be overly obsessed with myself. And I know that that's not like really celebrated. Individualism really isn't celebrated in our society, but I do believe that individualism is important to an extent because I have always been under the belief that we can't have community unless people really know themselves. And just sitting in front of that mirror and connecting with myself is allowing me to just kind of see the humanity in myself. I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I am flawed by every definition of the world. I am incredibly imperfect, and I'm probably incredibly unimportant in the way I think I'm important. There's a part of me that feels like I am incredibly important to a lot of people. I think I have golden child syndrome, and I'm not afraid to admit that. But also, I'm really not that important, you know? And so I'm just kind of sitting with all these thoughts, and it's really hard. But I think it's something that we should do. Every time I'm in the mirror, I hear Michael Jackson. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. So and I'm asking her to change her ways. And I'm not asking myself to change in service of other people. I'm asking myself to change in service of myself because I truly believe that if I have a genuine relationship with myself that is built on integrity to myself, then the relationships I have with other people will be a lot more fulfilling and I can show up how I want to. But first, I need to pull back, and really get to know myself, really connect with myself. And that's kind of what I've been doing in my mirror work. And I don't do it every day, I do it when I feel like it. I'm not trying to make a strict routine of it, but yeah, it's crazy how it begins to work because earlier today someone gifted me something, but they had a note with it, and I didn't really like the note. I felt like the note was kind of like shady, and it made me really mad. It made me want to cry. Because it touched on something that I'm incredibly insecure about. And usually I would be like, oh, maybe they didn't mean that. But when I really thought about it, I was like, yeah, they meant that. And it is what it is. I allowed myself to be mad about it. I cried about it. I just allowed my feelings to exist. And for me, that's a signal that, for me, that's a signal that I there's some part of me that is learning or relearning self-respect. There is some part of me that is learning self-compassion, self-care, learning that I do have emotional boundaries that sometimes people cross, and I have not always stood up for myself. But I recognized them, and I recognized what was happening this morning, and I allowed myself to feel whatever I was feeling, and then I got my ass up and I worked out. I took a long hot bath, and now I'm here. recording this audiogram. So, if you're looking for a way to connect with yourself and you're willing to be uncomfortable with yourself, I definitely recommend that you sit in front of the mirror and get as vulnerable as possible, because I truly believe that no one's going to love you better than you love yourself. And for me, I really just want to be my biggest champion. And if I can be my biggest champion, then I can be a better community member to the people that I love. Um, so yeah, do the mirror work. Let me know how it goes. Now, let's go to my next topic. What's the point? So, I don't know if you're like me, if you struggle with depression, anxiety. I was diagnosed when I was 17, I believe, 18, 17, 18. I've done medication, I've done all the things, right? But depression is something that always comes back. And I've gotten to the point where I've had it so long where I just recognize that it's just a natural feeling to be depressed. Not natural, how do I say this? It's natural in the sense that depression is an emotion. Emotions come and go, So whenever I personally feel depressed, there's a part of me that's just like, yeah, okay. You know, Whatever's happening inside of me, that's what's happening. I'm going to let it happen, but I don't treat depression like a permanent feeling anymore. I know a lot of it has to do with fluctuating hormones for me throughout the month. I do believe that I have PMDD, but that's another story for another day. But anyways, so this year has not the first half of this year was not my best. There were some things that I accomplished, but how I thought the year was going to go and how the year, well, let me rephrase that. How I thought the first half of the year was going to go versus how the first half of the year actually went are two wildly different realities for me. And that was so hard. And in that, I just was always asking myself, what's the point? What's the point? What's the point? What's the point of being alive? What's the point of being here? Like, what is the freaking point? And I think I just asked myself that until I finally thought about it. Because I was just kind of asking haphazardly. I was asking out of emotion. I wasn't asking logically. Is that I wasn't really asking to answer the question or to receive an answer. I was just asking because it kind of felt like the default question for me to ask myself. And I asked that question so much, what's the point? What's the point? What's the point? Till I got to a space where I was like, oh, there is no point. And I'm someone who makes meaning out of just about everything. I am a storyteller by trade. That's what I do, that's how I make my living. I'm a published journalist. I've written a couple of books. Have I published them publicly? No, but I still wrote them, you know. I wrote, produced, directed a movie. I'm always writing. I'm always telling stories. I'm always thinking of stories. I'm always dissecting stories. I have an English degree. I have a film production degree. I have multiple certifications in storytelling. So, as you can imagine, I love story. I love dissecting story. I love making meaning of things. But when I was asking myself, what's the point? What's the point? What's the point? I got to a point the thought that there really is no point. And as you can imagine, that kind of shook me a little bit because I'm like, no, there's a point. Like, I have a purpose. But I just kept thinking about it. I'm like, I don't think I have a purpose. I don't think there is a point. I think there is no point. And because there is no point, I can kind of do whatever the hell I want to do with my life. And for me, that's kind of been a very liberating thought. And I do believe there are two places you can land with that thought. One place you're like, what's the point? Fuck it all. I'm going to, I don't care. I don't care. And then on the other side of that, there's what's the point? Oh, there is no point. I can do whatever I want. And that's where I am right now. And it's a very freeing place to be. It's a very liberating place to be because it's different when you can add meaning to things, and that meaning can be just totally based in who you are and what you want to believe. versus meaning being given to you, then you are bound by a set of rules that you may not always agree to. And so asking myself, what's the point? Even if it's something simple like just putting on makeup, just asking myself, what's the point? What's the point? What's the point? When I'm sitting there contemplating if I want to put on a face of makeup just because I want to, if I just kind of sit with it and I'm like, there is no point, then I just put on the freaking makeup. I put on the makeup for myself. I put on the makeup because it feels good, not because I'm trying to impress anyone, not because I'm trying to push back against how patriarchy treats women and women, beautiful women. Like, forget all of that. I'm just putting on the makeup because I want to put on the makeup. And that's a very liberating space to be. I'm going to put on the clothes because I want to put on the clothes. There is no rhyme or reason why I should or shouldn't put on the outfit, but I'm just going to put on the outfit for me because it's beautiful and I like it. And for me, this thought is like the thought that leads you into, I feel like this thought is like the bad bitch, like final boss thought. And I feel like once bad bitches really think about this thought, or then like they go Super Saiyan, Saiyan, Super Saiyan, Super. I don't know. I can't talk, y'all. But yeah, so I've been asking myself that, and so I watched everything everywhere all at once a couple weeks ago for the first time. And I really loved it because it had been. Don't you love those things? Like when you're thinking about something and then something in your reality confirms it. I know that's kind of contradictory because I'm just like, nothing means nothing. But I thought the everything everywhere all at once, just watching it kind of confirmed what I had been thinking for the last couple of months, because they literally tackle this question, what's the point? And at the end, if you haven't seen it, I'm finna spoil it for you. At the end, we see the main character just come into like this complete peace with herself. In her this complete peace with reality, she realizes that she's just been so lost in the sauce, so hell bent on controlling everything, and so hell bent on like being the hero, and taking on the burden. And she had that little break from reality in the journey that she goes through, for her to realize that all of this is something that we've infused meaning into, and that meaning gives us a sense of importance. But I think just existing, just being alive, just being able to breathe, talk, think, do whatever you can, whatever you're able to do, like being able to just exist is enough. Like, we're just here to play, we're just here to experience things, and we should embrace that. So if you're I do believe that people should go to therapy. I've been to therapy multiple times, and I think I'm going to sign up for another round soon. But I think also there is, like, I think also sometimes you just also have to work out these things on your own. You have to think about these things on your own. You have to trust your mind. And you have to have ownership over your thoughts and your own philosophy. And a part of my philosophy, in philosophy, personal philosophy is very important to me. And a part of that is, asking myself, what's the point? And coming into complete knowing and understanding with myself that there is no point and I can make the most out of my life. Like, you just kind of move differently. I know for me, I feel a little bit more inspired. I've always been very ambitious. And I feel like for the last couple of years, I don't know if I've been going through a Saturn return. If I have, oh my gosh, Saturn has kicked my ass. And I believe I'm at the tail end. If not, it's over, and I'm so freaking happy. But yeah, like, you can do whatever you want with your life. So why aren't you doing it? Why are you stuck in these roles of subservience? Why aren't you obsessed with yourself? Why aren't you doing things for yourself? Why aren't you prioritizing yourself? Because you are important. You are important. in the grand scheme of your life. Maybe not everyone else's life, but you're important to you. And I believe when you begin to put yourself on a pedestal, not as a way to belittle other people, but just because, I mean, it's your world. Why not celebrate yourself? Why not value yourself? So yeah, maybe explore that thought. Maybe some people may need to explore it with family, friends, but I think it's a good thought to explore. I'm of the mindset that life is weird. Um, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I'm like, y'all, we're all like a rock in the middle of space and we're just floating around. That's not normal. Nothing about this is normal. Nothing about life is normal. And for me, that's a very grounding thought. I know it sounds crazy, it sounds out there, but for me, that thought grounds me in reality. It helps me make sense of my reality. It helps me feel grounded. And it helps me want to be a little bit more present with the people around me. So I say explore that, watch everything everywhere all at once, and see what kind of questions it elicits within you. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is my improv experience. So, a couple of weeks ago, like 2 months ago, I decided that I need to do something to get out of the house. I need to be around people. I need to play. I need to do something fun. And so, I have been looking at this improv class for a long, long time, like years. And I finally got up the nerve to sign up. I signed up and it was just like the most life changing experience. Now, as a black woman, I know y'all, I know that the play has just left our minds. I know that play is something that, for most, but not all black women, but there are some black women who don't know how to play anymore, don't know how to have fun. They have become a shell of themselves. There is no whimsy. There is no creativity. There is only coping. And in this improv class, I was forced to be uncomfortable. I was the only non ambiguous black woman in the class. And so I'm observing and I'm watching all the other people play. And I'm like, it's a difference between how this group of people plays and how I play as a black woman. And there was another black woman in the class, and I know she did share with me that there were some things that she was still trying to um, feel comfortable doing in some of the exercises that we were doing. And it just dawned on me that black women are not playing enough. I don't know if for me, it's just like I've been so stressed out that all I could do was cope. I couldn't play. But being in this environment where I was completely uncomfortable allowed me to learn how to play again, allowed me to learn how to live with my mistakes and not allow my mistakes to become my identity. Um, just to kind of have fun, just for the sake of having fun. And it also reminding me that performance, our guy William Shakespeare said life is a stage and all the players are like performing, or however that quote goes. And I truly believe that. I truly believe that. I do believe some people perform better than others, but I do believe life is all about performance. But I do believe life is all about play. And this goes back to my question of like, you add meaning to your life. You are the one who adds purpose to your life. It's not always like this grand thing. I feel like sometimes when we look at our lives as like this grand universal cosmic thing, that we give all of our power away. And going through this class has allowed me to reclaim ownership over my life and how I move, and reclaim ownership of the space that I am in. I'm someone who, for the longest time, I could be the most talented, well thought person, most creative person in the room, but I will still find a way to cower. Improv taught me how to take up space. It taught me how to play with my emotions, how to embrace my emotions. It also taught me that my emotional range may be limited. And I don't know, that's a weird thing to kind of sit with. And I think I've just kind of been going through like 4 or 5 emotions, but I haven't allowed myself to experience the range of emotions that makes up Lanisha. But most importantly, I learned how to have fun again. It felt like adult recess for like just adult recess. And it was so much fun just for like 2 hours every week to just kind of be acting silly and coming up with ideas off the top of my dome, and to be in this uncomfortable space where everyone is feeling weird, where everyone is feeling judged and uncomfortable, but you're kind of forced to kind of let that go and just really be in the moment. And it just taught me other things about how I relate to other people, where I may be lacking in some social skills, because y'all, I'm working on that though. I'm working on that. I've always been kind of like, I make friends, but I think I'm just always so used to being by myself. And myself is not everybody. But yeah, I just kind of, understood a little bit more about myself. But if you are looking for a way to infuse some more fun into your life, to be uncomfortable, if you're okay with being uncomfortable, then 1,000,000% take an improv class. And you may not be uncomfortable, but I was uncomfortable. But throughout the process, I became less uncomfortable. And I will say something beautiful I learned about myself is that I don't have stage fright for real. And I think I've been on stage enough times. Last year, I presented an award at an award show. And I wrote the script. Ain't it crazy? I wrote the script. I couldn't remember the script. I had it in front of me, but I just couldn't say it. So it was televised. We ended up doing 2 takes. And in those 2 takes, I just kind of forced myself to kind of get over like how I feel in front of people. So I don't really have stage fright like I used to. And I think, again, I've just been performing all my life in some form or capacity. I So I don't have stage fright, and I actually enjoy performing. So I think I'm going to start working on my first 5 minute set, and low key start my career as a comedian. But outside of that, yeah, just performing and being around all these theater kids and people who really love acting. Like, it was just fun. It was just a lot of fun. And my teacher was great. He definitely, I can see why he has the career that he has, because every class he's giving us mindset shifts. Did you make a mistake in the last hour? Everyone raises their hand. He's like, okay, people are making mistakes all the time. Don't let them become your identity. And the most liberating part of improv was the yes and. So, yes, and is the belief that when you are performing with someone else, they're going to give you an offering, like they're going to offer you a character, a scene, a scenario, and you say yes to their offer, and that's when you come in and you add your own spin on things. And it's a fun mindset to take on, because as a black woman, I don't know about you, but for me, I'm always like, damn, I fucked up. Damn, 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 damn. I'm letting down the black race. Damn. That's like the internal thing that's going on in the back of my mind. But the yes and mindset allowed me to be like, yeah, I made a mistake today and it doesn't matter. Or maybe it does matter. Yes, I made a mistake and I can still move on from this? So I'm not living in my mistakes anymore. I'm not necessarily I'm not escaping into my mistakes. I'm not ruminating on them as much as I used to, because but I am realizing that there is duality. Just because I fucked up, just because I made a mistake, that does not mean that I am any less than, or there are people doing a million times worse things than what I'm doing. Right? All I did was I broke a plate today, like, or maybe I wanted to cuss out my downstairs neighbor, and I was like, oh, I hate that bitch. Just like maybe I said some things that weren't super positive about someone, Yes, I said all those things. And there are some people who I love down bad who I could never say anything bad about because I know they're loyal to me and I'm loyal to them, right? So, or it could be like, yes, I failed this test today and I have the opportunity to try again. Or yes, I didn't get this job and I can apply to another one. And that doesn't mean that's the end of the road for me. Or yes, I did get the job and I'm still gonna try to pursue my dream of being an entrepreneur. Just allowing yourself to exist in duality. So yeah, that is my thoughts for today on some of the things I've been thinking about as it relates to inner beauty. If you can relate to anything, let me know and tell me, what is your inner beauty journey looking like? I am so interested to know. Make sure you check back tomorrow. I will be back here with another topic that we can talk about. And if you have anything that you want to hear me talk about, then let me know in the comments and I will add it to my list of topics. I hope you all have a beautiful day and I look forward to engaging with you all in the comment section. Bye.